What is going on, everyone? RJ here, and in today's video we're gonna do a quick recap on the Litepaper that was just released on Safuu, and it is very meaty, M-E-A-T-Y, meaty. Now, before we get started, obviously I am not a financial advisor, so please do not take this video as financial advice. This video and this entire channel is meant for education and pure entertainment purposes only. This is crypto, and let alone this is DeFi, so obviously please do not blindly follow me or anyone else. Please do your own research and please do your own due diligence before putting some money into some of these projects. Now, first and foremost, I obviously want to apologize for being away for a couple days here. On Friday, I did the deed and I went ahead and proposed to a very beautiful woman who is now my fiance. Now, if you guys follow me in my other social medias like Instagram, then you'll see that there were initial pictures on there. But yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty crazy weekend, probably one of the best nights and weekends I've had in my life. Spent it with our closest friends, our closest family. Now, if Safuu wants to sponsor a Safuu wedding, that'd be pretty dope, right? Brian, imagine the sick marketing that you'll get out of that. SafuuX sponsors wedding, and then we have Crypto Gold Rush in there doing their magic and all that stuff. I'm just saying, it wouldn't be a bad investment, and you'd be getting a lot of publicity, and a lot of people would be talking about it. It would be a lot of hype. So obviously, Brian, hit me up. Welcome to the flight deck, everyone. Let's go ahead and check out, first and foremost, the SafuuX website. So if you guys take a look at SafuuX.com, so now you have safuu.com as well as the SafuuX website. So two different websites, two different products, but one ecosystem working together. So really neat stuff. If we scroll down here, we will see that we have the link to the Litepaper, which we're going to go over in just a minute here. All right, so let's go over this website really quick. So you'll see auto rebasing, auto staking, auto compounding, SafuuX with its 191,888% APY, introductory fixed APY for the first 9 months. All right, and then a couple more pieces of information about the governance, decentralization, about the 300 full validator nodes, and then the 1200 light nodes, which we'll cover really quickly in the Litepaper, the infrastructure itself, how the fees work, and then something that I always like is a roadmap. Imagine that, a company and a project that gives you a roadmap and doesn't say, oh, we don't follow dates and stuff like that. All right, so let's look at this roadmap really quickly here. So the first one coming soon is your nodes, full nodes and light nodes available to purchase pre-launch. You have your sacrifice phase, which we're gonna go over in the Litepaper, but sacrifice your current Safuu and receive a bonus multiplier for the SafuuX coin. We got testnet live environment where developers can test the network with their dApps. That's going to be anywhere between October and November. And then obviously the main net launch of the SafuuX blockchain. Oh, you guys can't even see. Here's the date for the SafuuX mainnet blockchain release. So SafuuX blockchain protocol is fully developed and deployed on December 28th. Now remember, originally, Safuu blockchain wasn't supposed to be deployed until sometime 2024. Then it got expedited to release sometime, I think it was July or April, sometime then between 2023. And then Brian cranked it up even more with his team, and we are looking to push around December 28th of this year. That would be an insane holiday for a lot of people that are able to get either validator nodes and or just looking for price appreciation. All right, so make sure you guys obviously leave buffer in there mentally, just in case there are some delays, because this is technology. We do run into tech issues all the time. Okay, so that's a really cool roadmap to have, kind of to set the foundation of what to expect. But we're looking at a sacrifice phase here of August to September. Now, Brian did eventually update that. We are looking at a sacrifice date of September 1st to September 28th. And we'll go into more on the sacrifice phase shortly here. Now let's go into the Litepaper. Now, before I actually go into this Litepaper version 1.1, let me just preface that I'm going to breeze through the Litepaper. If you guys want more detail on the specifics of it, I just recommend you guys head over to Brian's latest AMA where he just breaks it down. Obviously, there's no better source to listen to if not Brian when it comes to the details of his project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can help clarify where a lot of the confusion is coming from on Discord, and people just asking me, hey, what is the sacrifice phase? Hey, what is a light node? Hey, what is a side chain sort of thing? Okay. So again, we'll briefly breeze through the pages. And then if you guys want more detailed answers, just go ahead and head to Brian's latest AMA, all right? So here's the light paper. This is a 19-page light paper, so it's not some blow-off light paper where there's just some copy-paste words in here. So let's go over some of this. We have the introduction, the problem that this Safuu blockchain is trying to solve, the SafuuX chain, how it can be a standalone blockchain, and it is EVM compatible, which means that it is written in Solidity. So if you know how to write for Ethereum, then that means you know how to write for Polygon, which means you know how to write for Binance, which means you know how to write for SafuuX, all right? Staking and governance, architecture, supported wallets. So we have MetaMask, Trust Wallet, Coinbase Wallet, and Token Pocket. Maybe sometime in the future it'll be cool to have a SafuuX wallet, but I don't know if there's going to be any benefit to that. I'll leave that to Brian to see if it's worth allocating hours and legwork to creating a Safuu wallet if MetaMask will do everything it's supposed to anyways, since it is EVM compatible. SafuuX is going to have their own SafuuX scan or block explorer. So if you go to Binance, you have BSC scan. If you go to Ethereum, you have Ether scan. If you go to Avalanche, you have Snowtrace. These are the block explorers that allow you to see all the transactions public on that blockchain ledger. Now the Safuu DEX or the SafuuX swap is also really cool because not only does the Safuu blockchain give you inherent revenue for that project, but a DEX also gives insane amounts of revenue because you get a piece and a portion of that transaction back to that project or protocol. So if we take a look at Binance, right, they don't really have their own DEX. A lot of people use PancakeSwap. Same with Avalanche, people use Trader Joe. Or if you go to Polygon, they use QuickSwap. Or if you go to Ethereum, they're using Uniswap. But Safuu is going to go ahead and launch their own DEX right from the get-go. Now, obviously, projects building onto SafuuX can build their own DEX as well to kind of help that ecosystem. But it's nice to see that Safuu is building their own DEX right from the get-go. They obviously go through their fee structure, which means that we are the lowest fees compared to any other DEX out there. It is a total of 0.19%. So 0.14% is returned back to the LP to reward LPs, and then 0.05% is sent to the treasury. And then the Safuu bridge, which is super cool. I remember a previous company that said they were going to do cross-chain and bridges and kind of pitch it to be so innovative when in fact it isn't. Cross-chain bridging is things that current DEXs already do today. So if we head over to the Phantom network and we go to Spirit Swap, right, you'll see that on the left side here, they have a bridge tab. And because we're on the Phantom network, if I want to go from Phantom to, let's say, Binance, right, and I select my currency and I want to go from Phantom BUSD to Binance BUSD, this DEX already handles that cross-chain bridging aspect of it. So that means I don't need to go to a central exchange to send Phantom, exchange it to Binance, send it back to my wallet. It does that all on DeFi, which is really cool. Now, not all DEXs have bridges to cross-chain from. So you do have dedicated services like multi-chain where you can go from BUSD Phantom and go to BUSD Binance, right? And you can change this all the time. I can go from Phantom mainnet to Phantom Binance, which is a BEP20 token pegged to Phantom. So bridging is going to be super cool that Safuu already has. It looks like the first bridge they're looking to build is going to be a cross-chain between Safuu and Binance. And then it'll be cool to see further bridging later on, maybe Safuu to Ethereum or Safuu to Phantom, Safuu to Avalanche, Safuu to Polygon, all these EVM compatible chains. And then continue to scroll down here on page 12, we are going to talk about Safuu full nodes. So obviously you guys already heard Brian said there's going to be a total of 300 full validator nodes. It's going to cost $49,000 each. That's obviously going to be strictly whitelisting. And so you needed to have held Safuu from March, April, and May. So those 3 months. And then for those people that if 300 doesn't get sold out, then they're going to roll it over to the next in line. Now, next to the SafuuX full nodes, you now also have the SafuuX light nodes. And there's just going to be 1,200 available for that with a total cost of $490. And again, that's also strictly whitelisting. Now, for those that do not know what light nodes are, SafuuX light nodes constitute the SafuuX sidechain, whose purpose is to elect full nodes as validators for the SafuuX chain for every epoch. Light nodes have this singular role in the protocol. So if we stop right there and you're like, well, what the heck is a sidechain? Let's take a look into CoinDesk where it says an introduction to sidechains. Sidechains have become essential for helping pre-existing blockchains like Bitcoin to scale and become more interoperable. So what exactly is a sidechain? A sidechain is a separate blockchain network that connects to another blockchain called a parent blockchain or mainnet via two-way peg. These secondary blockchains have their own consensus protocols, allowing a blockchain network to improve its privacy and security and minimize additional trust required to maintain a network. All right, so I don't think people really care so much more about the technology, but sometimes people do. But just know that the light nodes are essential to this infrastructure so that it elects the full nodes as validators for every epoch that happens, okay? And obviously, the most important thing people are getting light nodes and full nodes for is to be rewarded for doing that work and supporting the backend infrastructure. SafuuX rewards and fee structure. Again, if you guys are interested in this, just download the Litepaper yourself. And obviously, you know, like I said, if you're really interested in the breakdown and all the math behind it, just head over to Brian's latest AMA. He also talks about the fixed flex portion, which is really interesting. I don't think I'll be able to explain this better than he can. So if you are having questions in regards to the fixed flex APY, head over to his AMA and just give it a watch. Now, here is probably the biggest portion I want to try and spend a little bit of time on, but let's go over this page. So this is page 17, sacrifice for SafuuX. In the lead up to the official SafuuX chain mainnet launch, there will be a sacrifice event where existing Safuu BEP20 token holders and holders of Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Phantom, XRP, Solana, Polkadot, Avalanche, Matic, Doge, SHIB, USDT, USDC, BUSD stablecoins will be able to sacrifice their current coins for SafuuX prior to the testnet being live. All right, so again, you'll be able to sacrifice this list of BEP20 tokens before the testnet goes live. The sacrifice event will be broken down into stages where the earliest sacrificers on day one will be eligible for up to a 50% multiplier, with the multiplier decreasing over time in the subsequent days, reducing the amount of SafuuX you will receive. The earlier you are to sacrifice, the better rate of value for SafuuX you will gain, and the quicker you will start earning rebases. All Safuu being sacrificed at the upcoming SafuuX sacrifice event will be given a higher multiplier than all other available coins. So if you sacrifice on day one, not only are you getting a 50x multiplier on all sacrifices for any accepted coin, sacrifices made in Safuu will also get you an additional 15% multiplier, totaling for an additional 65%. You will also not need to pay the sell tax, so that gives you an additional 16% savings. So for a total savings as a Safuu holder of 81%, which is an astronomical number. This incentivizes the continual hold and rebase mentality for Safuu and act as a catalyst for higher Safuu prices. Okay, so let's break this entire sacrifice phase down. Now, the other token I know that went through sacrifice, there's been a few out there, but one that I'm sure people know about will be Richard Hart's Pulse Chain and Pulse X project here. So Pulse Chain also went through a sacrifice phase. So you can see their latest update was the Pulse Chain. The Pulse Chain sacrifice phase has ended, so don't send anything to the sacrifice address anymore. Before that communication, that they had a sacrifice period where it says, how does the sacrifice phase work? The chart below shows how much $10,000 sacrifice points will cost over the 19 days it applies. After these 19 days, you can no longer sacrifice, and you will have to wait until you can buy PLS on open market. The first 5 days have the best rate. For every dollar, you get 10,000 sacrifice points, or SPs. So if you offer $100 on day one to 5, you will receive at least 1 million sacrifice points. All right. So this was, of course, their specific to their sacrifice phase. So with that being said, obviously the main question here is that I've been getting is, well, RJ, why would I sacrifice my safuu for SafuuX, where I'm not going to be getting any rebases around that time anyways? Am I losing out on money when I can just be rebasing here and then just wait till SafuuX opens up on open market? Kind of like what Hex did, where they said that after the sacrifice phase was over, you have to wait until you can buy Pulse Chain or PLS on open market, right? One of the main reasons, and let's go back to Safuu here. One of the main reasons I think, and this hasn't been confirmed by Brian or anything, right? But as someone who's seen other projects either go from a V1 migration to a V2 migration, or go from a token to their own native coin on their own blockchain, you want to incentivize the vast majority of people to get off of the old token and onto obviously the new environment. And this is one of the best ways to incentivize people is by giving them a multiplier to get off of that chain. Now, one example I can give you, and this is not really a good example because they were just going from V1 to V2, was an old project that I was involved with. They went from V1 to V2 where one token equaled one token. It wasn't dollar value amount, it was token to token. So what people ended up doing, and this was an absolute disaster and catastrophe, and people lost so much money. People were hitting me up saying, hey, I lost money on this because they ended up changing their tax to 100% just to incentivize people to move over. And I couldn't help them out. It was really heartbreaking. But what ended up happening was their V1 token ended up plummeting, and then the V2 token ended up increasing in value. So what a lot of people were doing was they were arbitraging, right? They were buying the V1 token at a super, super low discount, putting tens of thousands of dollars into it, and then migrating over at a higher cost and then selling. That's what ended up happening, which is what caused the project to increase their transfer tax and their sales tax to 100%. So if you did anything but migrate the correct way, you lost all your tokens. And I know a lot of people that lost a lot of money that way. And it was an absolute disaster. Now, this isn't a one-to-one scenario because what we're doing is we're not going from a V1 to a V2. We're going from we're going from a token into our own actual native coin on the SafuuX blockchain. Okay, so by incentivizing people that you will have almost an 81% savings or a 50% multiplier, which is obviously a lot more, people will be incentivized to move over and support the new project. Of course, if you are bullish on Safuu, then you want to support the future of Safuu anyways, right? And then I did get an official clarification from Brian. He said from September 1st to September 28th is the sacrifice event, much in the same way as an ICO operates. People don't get APY or rebases. However, once the testnet is live on September 28th, this is where the new 9-month introductory APY of the 191,888% kicks in. So yes, they will start earning from that point, but not through the sacrifice phase, okay? So what ends up happening is from September 1st to September 28th, you're gonna get that multiplier. Nothing's gonna happen, you're just gonna wait on it. And then on September 28th, you will then get your SafuuX with a 50% multiplier on your SafuuX coins, and then you're going to automatically start rebasing. So with that being said, that is the whole purpose of the sacrifice event, is to just really, really incentivize people to get off of the BEP20 Safuu, which is still going to happen, right? You're still going to get the rebases, but if you are in this for the future of Safuu and to make money on SafuuX, then this is a good way to incentivize people to move over, is by giving them that multiplier. Because if you do not go through the sacrifice event, what ends up happening, like I said, is in my mind, what ends up happening, since it's not a version 1 to version 2 migration, it's a completely separate coin, right? It's a completely separate cryptocurrency. You would have to sell your Safuu, get hit with the sell tax, then purchase the SafuuX coin and get hit with a buy tax also. So it's much easier to just go through the sacrifice event, get that multiplier and just sit on it. And then once testnet goes live, you're immediately going to start getting the rebases as well as the multiplier that you will eventually get depending on which day you got in on. So I hope that makes sense. This entire Litepaper was insanely meaty, M-E-A-T-Y meaty, and there was a lot of information on it. Not financial advice, this is one of those risk it to get the biscuit. Remember when Ethereum initially started asking for funding and asking people to invest and put some money in there, and people thought Ethereum was the craziest thing, and people thought Ethereum was a scam because they were asking for funding money to launch, you know, whatever they needed to launch. This is one of those things. And obviously people that took that risk, people that had the cojones to see the possibilities, was obviously the most that was rewarded. And this is one of those things, you know, I really do respect what Brian is trying to do, what Jason is trying to do, his COO. And I wish I can say that, you know, some of the projects I'm currently in and currently invested in had this level of transparency, as well as had this level of production and just the sheer amount of things they are coming out with and tangible products and things that are being released. It's just amazing what Safuu is trying to do. So I hope you guys did find that video useful. I know it is a lot of information to digest. I hope you guys really did enjoy that video. If you did, please consider smashing that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you guys are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you guys are notified every single time I upload new content. I know it was a very, very in-depth and a lot of information to really pack in. I know there's still some questions, but if you do, please post them in the comment section below. You also have the Discord. Everyone in there is very, very helpful. With that being said, life is too freaking short, so eat some delicious food, drink some delicious drinks, do some good in the world, spread some positive vibes, and I'm gonna see everyone on the next crypto video next time.